Let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a truly fascinating chronological journey, how non-living chemistry literally transformed into living biology. We are looking at the ultimate origin story of life itself, pulled straight from the fundamental notes of chemical history.
So let's tackle the fundamental mystery of our existence. Think about it. How exactly did a lifeless, barren rock suspended in space manage to create the very first living cell? It sounds a bit like magic, doesn't it? But as we'll see, it was actually an incredibly precise, step-by-step chemical progression. It's basically the universe's ultimate cooking show.
Section 1. Earth's Fiery Beginnings.
Now, what's really mind-blowing here is the sheer scale of deep time. We start with the origin of the Earth, right around 4.6 billion years ago. But the next data point is wild. The formation of water didn't occur until 4 billion years ago. Think about that. It took a massive 600 million years just to go from a fiery, volatile new planet to finally getting the life-giving presence of water. 600 million years.
So, how did that water actually get there? Well, this absolutely crucial ingredient was driven by a turbulent planetary process known as degassing. Basically, during the chaotic early days of Earth's formation, this degassing process released a whole bunch of different gases. Over a ton of time, those gases interacted, eventually forming the liquid water that pooled on the Earth's surface.
Section 2. Brewing the first glucose.
This is where the foundational cosmic recipe really goes to work. In that newly formed water, there was carbon dioxide hanging around too. So water, H2O, and carbon dioxide, CO2, started reacting with each other. But they needed a spark, right? With light energy from the sun acting as the catalyst, this reaction baked a totally foundational molecule, glucose, represented as C6H12O6. This was, quite literally, the original biological energy source. As more and more of those glucose molecules formed, the entire chemistry of our planet started to shift. There's this profound thought directly from our source material that captures this perfectly. Before the evolution of any living organism, some living thing got evolved. I love that. It beautifully highlights that blurry, mysterious line where basic, non-living chemistry slowly awakened and organized into something we'd actually recognize as alive.
Section 3. The primitive protobiotic. As those newly brewed glucose molecules multiplied, they did something absolutely incredible. They cordoned off an internal environment from the total chaos outside. This created our very first primitive boundary, which we called the protobiotic. This separation was a massive game changer because it finally allowed the exchange of materials between a protected internal environment and the external one. And you know, proto just means primitive. So this was essentially the primitive blueprint for a cell.
Section 4. The rise of the prokaryotes.
Let's trace this beautiful chain reaction that played out next. First, ammonia, or NH3, forms out in the external environment. Second, these ammonia molecules join together and eventually form amino acids. Step 3, these amino acids associate with our star ingredient, glucose, to form a chain. And finally, step 4, and this is key, this complex chain forces its way inside that protobiotic structure we were just talking about.
That crucial integration caused a massive evolutionary leap. When that chain made it inside, it upgraded the protobiotic into a much more advanced structure known as a prokaryotic cell. Now, these are specifically characterized by the fact that they lack a bound nuclear membrane. So, sure, it's a simple cell, but compared to loose chemistry, it's a monumental upgrade.
Section 5. The eukaryotic upgrade.
Looking directly at our source nodes, we finally see the culmination of all this deep time and chemical mixing. Eventually, with enough time, a nuclear membrane actually evolved right around the nucleus. This major internal architectural upgrade led to the formation of eukaryotic cells.
This grand finale is wonderfully clear when we compare them side by side. On one hand, you have the older prokaryotic cells lacking that bound nuclear membrane. These are famously present in bacteria. And on the other hand, the eukaryotic cells, showing off that newly evolved nuclear membrane. And where do we find these eukaryotic cells? In plants, animals, and fungi. That's right, the incredibly complex cells making up your very own body are the direct result of this exact evolutionary sequence. Which brings us to a really thrilling mystery to ponder, long after we've tracked life from a barren rock to the complex biology of today. From a volatile rock to complex living systems, what will the next billion years of cellular evolution look like? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. keep curious, and keep visualizing the amazing science that makes up our reality.